What is up everyone, TheAuscomando here, doing a new review for the newly released in Australia, and I believe to be newly released in America at some time in May, Iron Man 3. Now, Iron Man 3, I know a lot of you are probably thinking at this time, who are American citizens, are probably thinking either I'm a liar, or why haven't we gotten the movie, or this and that, and this and that. Listen, I don't care. I'm not lying at all. I've seen the movie, and it just so happens it's one of the rare occasions that Australia actually gets a movie before America. So, with that considered, I'm going to run through the character listing. I'm going to give minor spoilers. I'm only going to give away one major spoiler and only a little bit of it because this one needs to be addressed. And then I'm going to give my final thoughts on it. So, without further ado, let's begin and let's get right into the review. Now, Iron Man 3 has a lot of newly released characters that are coming into the new franchise, but it also stars a lot of the old ones that you expect, like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Pepper Potts as Gwyneth Paltrow, and the guy from the second film, Iron Patriot. Forgive me, I can't remember his name. I think it's like James Rhodey or Rhodes or something like that. As well as bringing in a few other characters like the Mandarin and Aldrich Killian, played by Guy Pearce. Which I don't know how I feel about what they've done with the Mandarin. Now, this is the major spoiler that I want to talk about, but I'm not going to address it yet. I will come to that. I'm going to address the plot and how it is, and without giving away too much, it in order from first to last, and then I'm going to address the Mandarin. I apologize for that. Now, Iron Man 3 is written and directed by Sean Black, who was the writer, I believe, for Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Lethal Weapon. Now, he's done a really superb job in the fact, I don't know what he's done. He may be the slightly darker tone, not too much that the fans will react badly to it, but enough so that people like me, who are fans of, say, Batman, or Batman The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, and even Batman Begins, will appreciate what they've done with the storyline and how it's evolved. Now, in my opinion, this movie is my favorite of the three for a variety of reasons. One of which, previously said, the darker tone. The other one is that they're not afraid to take risks. Now, at certain times, especially for the Mandarin, they stretch these risks a little bit too far. Case in point, for a little bit earlier on with Aldrich Killian and what they've done with him. They've tried to make Aldrich Killian the main revolving villain and sort of pushing Mandarin to the side until you understand this major plot twist. And I don't think this should be it. I don't think that's right. I think what they should have done is maybe switch the roles. Have Mandarin be the main villain and maybe have Aldrich Killian as this the secondary villain. But instead they made a switch of that, and I don't think that will work with the fans. I'm not a big Iron Man fan, I will admit it, but I have seen the movies and I have read a couple of the comics. I've even played a couple of the video games to know that the main villain usually needs to have the front seat, and it shouldn't be toyed with this. And I remember the anger I had when I figured out what happened to Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. I was fucking furious to what they did with him, and I can understand fans being as angry as they are as what they did with the Mandarin. So I understand. Now I'm going to continue on with the story and how it starts off. The movie starts off with a flashback to when Tony and Pepper Potts, no, it wasn't Pepper Potts, sorry, it was another girl that is mentioned further on in the story, are in Switzerland with Tony Stark's bodyguard. And he is approached by a younger version of Aldrich Killian, wanting to tell Tony about this invention that he's come up with. And he wants Tony Stark to come onto the team. Now, this is in 1999 on New Year's Day, I believe. And he sends Aldrich out saying that he'll come with him, but in matter of fact he doesn't. He goes upstairs and talks about his plans and shit with his this girl that he's met. Now, this is one of the major plot points as to what happens to Aldrich Killian and how he reacts from this to becoming the main villain. Now, another major system or device that they've incorporated into this is this virus called Extremis. This takes a front row seat as to what happens to Aldridge and how he affects other people. Which is another reason on how they took a dark approach with this, and making people such as Pepper Potts and other people being forced to use this virus and disease. Oh, not really a disease, more of a virus. And how it affects them, and how angry Tony Stark becomes after he sees what is going on, after he figures out what is happening to these people, which is further on in the storyline, maybe around maybe the 1 hour mark, so to speak, maybe 1.5 hour mark. And this will take a lead role as to what happens further on in the plot. So that's basically all I want to say about the plot, and I know I have revealed a couple of minor spoilers, and I have teased at what happens to the Mandarin, which is what I want to focus on now. Now, the Mandarin, they've done a similar approach to what they did with Bane, like I've said earlier on in the review, but even worse. Now, it's not that big of a deal for me, and people who aren't really fans of Iron Man won't think it's that big of a deal. But if you're a fan of Iron Man, you're a fan of the character Mandarin, like I was of Bane, and how he's my favorite villain of the franchise Batman, which is my favorite franchise, or, hero, you will be furious as to what they do with him. It's not that they, desensitize him or make him lesser or weak, but it's just, I can't really say it without spoiling the entire movie. But if you're a fan of the Aldridge character and you want to see him take a front row seat longer on in the film, you will enjoy it. Now, this is something that I'm going to reveal fully because I don't think many people will mind if I reveal it. And this is the end credit scene, which it's expected. I mean, it's a fucking Marvel movie. If you weren't expecting this to be after the credits, then you're an idiot. It's in every single movie from Marvel. Now, the end credit scene, this is the spoiler alert if you don't want to know. So, after the credits, it's not really anything spectacular. Like, he's not with Nick Fury or anything talking about the new movie or whatever. It's basically just Tony sitting on a like a bed type thing, talking to Bruce Banner about the entire movie and what it means and such. And Bruce Banner, falling asleep during it, and then he wakes up, and that's literally it. That's all the end credit scene is, and I think that they did that just so they could say, yep, we've got an end credit scene, even though it means nothing, it doesn't hint at another movie, we've still got it. Although they still hint at a supposed new movie, or something that we all expected, Iron Man would be in another movie, which is, like Avengers and such, which everyone knew was going to happen. And this is displayed with a little message just after the cutscene saying, Iron Man will return. Now, this could be either another movie, which, I'll be honest, I don't think we'll be seeing in the second stage of Marvel's process or movie line, but I think that it may be hinting at Iron Man 4. Now, personally, I don't think they should do it. I think they should end the Iron Man, focus on maybe, Ant-Man or Captain America, Thor, etc., even another Hulk movie. And I believe that they know this, and that hint at the very end of the movie is something that we expected, and this is alluding at the new Avengers 2 movie, or possibly even Guardians of the Galaxy, which is another already announced movie. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, I know I've talked a lot about how this movie is a darker tone and what have you, but it does have a lot of light moments that we've come to expect from pretty much Tony Stark in general. And it does have that humor element and some of the funniest crack jokes that I've seen in a movie so far in general. Oh, superhero movie, that is. And there's a glaring question which I think they answered really well. Does the man own the suit, or the suit own the man? And I think they've done this in a really, really well done manner towards the very end of the film. Not so much during the beginning. That's when the question is being revealed and sort of alluded. But at the very end, they answer that perfectly and just done it so well that I think a lot of the fans will be happy. And overall, it's just a fantastic way that they did it. So now, of course, I'm going to go on to the final verdict of the film and what I think of it. This is something that is known, and everyone has a review, but if you're not aware of my scale of movies and video games, I've only done one review, and that was of Django. Please revert back and maybe watch the ending or what have you and see my scale, because I'm not going to continuously repeat my scales. That's pretty much it for naming my scales. So, without further ado, with all things considered, I do think this is a fantastic movie, but they did screw a couple things up with characters, especially the Mandarin, and a little bit with Piper Potts. I don't quite think they should have gone the direction that they did at the very end. So I'm going to give Iron Man 3 a solid 8.25. I think the movie was solid and it delivered everything that I expected. But if I were to revert back to something like Batman The Dark Knight Rises, I would probably give that an 8.75. And I don't think this is a better movie than that, but it does come extremely close, but not enough to get a whole 0.5 more of a scale onto the movie. Again, if you're not happy with my review or you think it should be different, please don't be afraid to tell me what your thoughts are on it. As long as it's not, oh, you suck, you're completely out of blown with your scaling rating, what have you, then I don't mind if you tell me your scale. Whatever, even if I've done something wrong, please in detail tell me what I've done wrong and how I should improve that. So that's it for the Iron Man 3 review. I really appreciate you watching, and thank you very much. And I will see you next time for more gameplay and movie reviews. Ciao.